All right, we are back for a redo of yesterday. I had some trouble, and I could not finish the stream, so I'm gonna restart and basically redo this because I am doing this stream live, and it is unedited, but I still try to make it at least somewhat presentable so that it sounds good, so that I can save it, and then I usually upload these to my YouTube channel. Okay, so we are going to be doing Run 8 Train Simulator. This is the third version that just came out recently, and I've downloaded it, and I've actually started going to the point of, starting to download some of the extra content for the game. I said this before, but Run 8, one of the neat things about it is that because it's so heavily set up to be a multiplayer game and reflect real railroad operations, that they all the content that's available, you already have that content in the game, but in a way you have to unlock that content by purchasing the extras. So that includes rolling stock and locomotives, and what they do is like a placeholder for when you are, especially in multiplayer, is that you have these generic looking Run 8 boxcars like this right here to kind of represent the actual car until you buy it. So basically you're buying the skins for the cars. Anyway, having said that, I did download the CSX GP40-2 pack. There's a couple different packs for the GP40. I downloaded the one for $20. I think it was pack number 2, and it comes with 2 CSX paint schemes, Conrail, and then I believe BNSF. So we now have that. And just so you know that when you are adding extra content into Run 8 version 3, a lot of it is still made for version 2, and when you download it, it's going to version 2. It might be set up that way. You're going to have to make sure that when you download, that you are making sure that the destination is for version 3. Now, one of the cool things is that when you do, if you had version 2 originally and now you're getting version 3, the actual Run 8 game itself, all you have to do is install it. It's going to automatically roll over all of your version 2 content, including like the CSX A line, which is what you're seeing right now, or any other like content that you have in there. So if you have a situation where you download something after you've already installed version 3, you're going to get a warning sign when you go to enter version 3 again, and it's going to tell you that it detects version 2 content. And the way that it seems that this works, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you go to the main installer, so go back to as if you were going to install version 3, the Run 8 version 3 again, run that, and it will find the version 2 content and just add it in. So that's the way that I've read the instructions. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it did work for me. So so there's that. So we're going to go ahead, and before we get started, again, really cool upper left corner here, you can see this is the new drop-down menu for Run 8. And this was not available in the original Run 8. And it's got several different control options up here. One thing I want to do, and I want to throw out here, is that in the dispatcher board is actually updated now. It's more it's much more modern looking, and in this you can see it actually is much easier to see. And but one of the great features is now you can engage the auto dispatcher. I'm going to back out of the dispatcher screen. You're going to want to be on this main screen right here, and then you'll go to the last option on the drop-down menu and click engage auto all routes. Basically that starts the auto dispatcher, and the auto dispatcher is now going to light up all the trains in the essentially all the AI trains on the railroad. So now that we've covered that. Let's talk about what we're going to do in this particular stream. What we're going to do is we are going to switch in Moncrief Yard. That's where we are right now, Jacksonville, Florida. And as you can see right now, we're looking at the yard in the foreground here, where all these box cars are. This is the Fruit Growers Express loading dock transload facility right here. And then over in here, you can see the different yards. It's actually made up of several different yards. The yard to our left right here, this is the C yard. This is where we're going to be switching. And then as you can see over in this area over here, the right side, that's the H yard. And then beyond that is the fuel pad. So we're going to grab an engine off of the, maybe we'll grab it off the fuel pad. For the previous stream, I did just take one off of the yard over here, out of the H yard that was tied onto an intermodal train. But I think for this, I might go over to the engine barn and see if I can just grab one from there. Because I do see that we have one sitting in here. So maybe this will be my engine for the day. Let's see. I'll take it. This is one of the new skins, something you had to purchase extra. It's $20 for the pack. You get, I think, 4 different paint schemes. So $5, basically $5 per engine. It's not too bad. Something in Run 8 you'll notice is that they don't really give you like a themed pack. So like if you wanted all CSX rolling stock or equipment, you can't just buy like a themed pack to get all of that, which I think would be great. I would even pay, I would actually maybe be more inclined to buy more content if it was available like that, where if I got like a CSX, a couple engines, and then some rolling stock that was thrown in there too, that would be great. But you have to purchase kind of a mixed bag of stuff, which it's, you know, it's okay. I've been impressed so far with the skins that I've seen. I mean, you can kind of tell it's off a tad bit here, but something about Run 8 is that it's not really, they're not trying to be super graphics detailed, and it's not Train Sim World by any means. But if you wanted to run or a more realistic railroad, operation, then this is definitely the game for you. And I'm going to go ahead and get this guy started. So when you do this, you just go over here, click on the engine, and then you will, actually I want to make sure, because I just want the single unit. I want to see if it's hooked up to any other engines. And I can't really, I kind of feel weird just grab, yeah, there's 2 of them in here too. I guess I could just keep 2 of them together. That shouldn't be a big deal. You got to pay attention to every detail on this, including the angle cocks and all of the other equipment. But we're going to go ahead and get these 2 engines started. We will use 2 for this particular game. And here we go. We click on the engine, then you click on Auto Start All Locomotives. That's going to get them started. Second engine starting now. And you're going to want to go ahead and hit Auto MUDP, Auto EOT, Auto CB. That's the circuit breakers and isolation switches. Auto AB for the air brake system. I think that covers it. Alright, we'll go into the cab real quick and get rid of that red highlight there. Alright, so parking brake's on. That's actually the hand brake, but we'll keep that on for just a moment here. It looks like the air's already building up on there, so that's good. That should take care of that. I think that in this game, they've now made it so that you can control, you can actually click on some of the buttons here, like the generator fuel switch and the engine run, all these things right here. There's even a beacon switch, which I think that doesn't turn on, but that's fine. That's not really something too pertinent at this moment. Turn on the headlights. And we're going to go ahead and take that brake off because we're going to come out of this engine terminal here. We're going to have to go down, and then we're going to be grabbing onto a cut of cars, and I'll kind of show you that as we get moving here. So go ahead and take that handbrake off now. And we will start moving. Got to put that bell on. Okay, brake is released. And we should start moving now. There we go. Can open up those windows. And we should probably slow down a tad bit here. I don't think we're supposed to be going like 5 miles an hour side of the engine terminal. There we go. Hop out here. Get a kind of an outside view. Excellent. These engines will really take off on you if you're not careful. Something I do kind of wish that they had in this, and they don't, is like a following, just to kind of be like a chase view. They have the in-cab view, they have fly, and they have ground, but they don't have just a chase view where, you know, if you're just like, you're basically still attached to the train that you're on, but you can see the outside of it. Not that it's a big deal here. And then another great feature here, another observation is, unlike Train Simulator, you can actually see the switch points and which way the switches are lined up very easily in this game right here. So that's something that makes things a lot easier. I am lining it for the wrong way. I got to go ahead and put it back to that, but just to show you how that works, you just basically click on the switch and then it throws. All right. I want to fix headlight issue. Seems to be that when you are doing this, you make sure that it's in short hood trail. For some reason that it's the headlight on. Also want to get rid of the auto EOT, because I don't really need an EOT on this, and until there was an EOT when I first started moving there. I click on this and get rid of it, because I don't really need it. I do like that we have it's a Burlington BNSF EOT on this. I get rid of the EOT. EOT attached, remove. There we go. Like I said, this is a very detailed game, so I don't really need to have 2 engines, but I guess maybe it'll make it a little bit easier to control the switching when you start doing this. And by the way, I'm going to try to get rid of these tags. Outpost tags, that's off. Okay, so that got rid of the tags. We don't really need the tags for right now. So back to what we were doing. Start moving again. So we're going to go down to this switch here because probably going to have to line this switch to get us out. Yeah. So this switch needs to get lined up so that we can come out of the engine terminal. And then from there, we're going to continue this direction. Cross over to get onto the Yeah, so we're going to... Oops, I had it right the first time. There we go. Line both of the crossover switches up to be consistent. You do have to be pretty close to the switches to line them up. And then that should get us into the lead that we want, because we're going to want to go down into the switching lead to do what we do. Okay, come back up now. By the way, I'm doing this from, there's several different options when you click on a region and route in the main menu. One of the options is world, and when you click on world, it's going to give you, for the CSX A line, it's giving you one option, but that's fine. That option is going to, okay, no, I had it right. Sorry, I thought I didn't have the right track, but we're doing it okay so far. That option is going to be for basically to place a bunch of equipment in the game for you. So, like you can see here, all this is placed basically automatically through that option. So then once we cross over, we'll be on the proper switching lead to do this, because we're gonna pretty much do this switching lead right here. So once I get past there, I can go and put these brakes on. Very nice. These CSX GP40s do look really nice. Go ahead and line that switch, and to be consistent on the crossovers here, I'm gonna go ahead and line this one over here as well. That way, taken care of. Okay. Moving a little too quick there. But now that we've done that, we're on the right switching lead, we can head on back over to the next switch that we'll get a little too fast there. Okay. And come on over to the next switch that we're going to need, which is right here. We're going to cross over right here, and that one, and then we're going to need the next one over. A bit closer. I need this switch, and then I'm going to need that switch as well, because those are the cars that we're going to switch out. And you can see I'm probably stopped now, because, yeah, we're moving still, but barely. Bring this engine on over, or these two engines over here. Some more of these generic Run 8 boxcars. Yeah, it's going to be very hard to keep this thing under control. But at least the brakes are very responsive, so that's nice. Yeah, like I wish we could just click on this and just kind of follow along, but we can't. Nice if we could, though. So we'll just kind of keep following along manually, and we're going to go on into this track here, and we are going to tie on to this cut of cars, and then we're going to switch this cut of cars out. So there are a couple things that you'll see in the game, and I'll explain that a little bit more in detail once we tie on. But essentially, you're going to be clicking on the cars, and you can just click on the first car, and you'll see that in the upper right corner, there's a little, I don't know what you want to call it, like a little waybill that comes up, and you can click on Tagger in this, and when you click on Tagger, you'll see the entire cut of cars, and on the right side of the screen, you're going to see all of the destination industry tags on there, and that helps you decide, or helps you know where the cars need to go. So that's going to help us out when we start switching these cars out. Something that's just on a kind of a prototypical situation. You're not really going to you can choose any track you want to switch the cars out. The main goal is just to sort the cars, not really putting them into any specific track in the yard. So we're going to kind of do that when we do this scenario here, just kind of switch the cars out and get them sorted. I'm going to put the engine display up here so we can kind of see what our speed is right now. Go ahead and just, there we go. Give it a stretch. Okay. And got the brakes back on. Could go with a full 3-step there, but now that we've done that, we're tied on. We're going to go ahead and just take a look at this this train right here. So now, all these cars, they're currently, all the air hoses aren't hooked up on them, and I do believe that the entire stretch cars, or the entire train, is going to be has their handbrakes applied. So we're going to have to go ahead and fix that. All right, so we're not going to switch the cars on air. There's no need to do that. But we do need to make sure we get these handbrakes cleared off here. And I don't know of an easier way to do this. So the only way it seems to work is if you just go and release all the handbrakes. Alright, this will be a process here, just getting all these handbrakes undone. Put that way, maybe. Whoa, that was way too fast. Lost a little bit of speed there. Okay, so this was the last one that we were on? No? You? Okay, that was the last one that we were on, so go ahead and undo these handbrakes. And if we accidentally forgot a handbrake, that wouldn't be too out of the ordinary either, but don't want to have a handbrake on, so you want to make sure you get all of them if possible. Yep, almost done. I'm actually kind of wondering why all the handbrakes are applied on this train. It doesn't seem like something anyone would do, is apply the entire cut of cars. And I don't know of a way to actually fix that. Might be like a cheat for that, but I don't know what it is. And that's the last one. Cool. So we're going to switch these cars without air. Now that we've undone the handbrakes on them, we can go ahead and get started with the switching. Ooh, going a little fast there. So that pretty much means that we're going to leave the air hoses disconnected, and for the right here you'll see we're disconnected right here. So oops, too far. All right, so then I still went too far to go back. Get a little bit closer, and also I think my friend Jim would really love these engines right here. These are CSX GP40s. They look great, and these really are, for CSX, this is like the bread and butter of the fleet. Back in like the 80s, this was like the mainline power for the railroad. They had probably the largest roster of GP40s. So, and they do look really nice. You can even kind of tell that they are like slightly weathered too, which is awesome too. See the grime on the cab and along the sides. It's really great. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pull this string forward, but before we do that, I'll talk about how this is gonna work. So in the tagger, first thing here. when you click on the car and then you go into the waybill, you can go over here to the tagger and it'll give you the entire cut of cars, starting with this first one right here, all the way down to the bottom. And we're going to be starting at this end where you see these two cars here. You'll see that they are for the A754. That's their next assignment, essentially. So we're going to switch these cars, basically sort them out. You'll see there's 759, 753, 123. We're basically going to sort so that they're all in that cut right there, so that they're all sorted out for those individual assignments. This is kind of like a yard job that would be basically switching out cars for, maybe these cars just arrived to Jacksonville and now you're sorting them out so that they can go to whatever, like, local industries they need to go to, and to do that they're going to be going out on those specific jobs to go do that. So we're going to get those cars sorted out so that that can happen. Let's see. Doing good so far. One of the things that we're going to want to check here is that we have our switches lined up properly. One thing we can do now is we can go ahead and I think we're going to keep this crossover lined up so that we go down that lead, and that's going to keep us off of this portion of the C yard, and it's going to keep us in this portion over here, which is all we really need, is just a few tracks to sort these cars into, because there weren't a whole lot of different tags for these cars. I think that we can actually pull up a tag. Yeah, so that's the different car numbers. You can press it again and it gives us the actual, like, industry tags, I guess you could call it, or the blocking for these cars. So we'll rely on that. And oh, it's actually kind of cool, they're actually color coded as well, so that'll make things even easier. We're gonna bring this train on out. And then we'll start sorting these cars. Actually, what we'll do, because just to save ourselves an extra move, we're going to go ahead now and just cut off that first car. So we'll just make this first track set up so that it's for the 754 cars. Everything for the 754 will just go right into this track. Whew, really sloshing back and forth there, just like a real tank car. And apply that handbrake, and then we can open up the coupler, and we can, open the coupler up. Now we can pull ahead with the cars that we do want to go. Okay. Right, so then this next car is for 759, it looks like. No, sorry, that was the other one. 754 is the next car. Oh no, wait, hold on. It's weird how they're different colors, but yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and stop. This car stays with it, so no, I think I have that messed up, because the cars in the back there are kind of throwing this all off. This is 754. This car is for, this is for 754 as well. That's fine. All right, so then these cars actually go together. That's kind of actually set one thing up that I wanted to kind of test out, which is kicking cars. So to do that, I believe all we have to do is hit open coupler. And I don't know if we can do that while we're in motion, but we're going to try. We're going to kick this car. We're kind of close to do that, but just to see how if this actually works that way. Okay, yeah, cool. So it works. It's just gonna, but essentially that's how we're gonna do the rest of the switching here. Once we've got a car kind of anchoring the track down here, we're just gonna kick cars in just like that. Yeah, 2 cars for the 754 to just, so that it's not really color coded then, it's just different colors just to kind of stand out, but that's fine. We'll stick to that. So this next car is gonna go to the 753, so this will go to a different track. We'll just basically make the next track for the 753. In reality, a yardmaster is going to kind of give you a list of cars on paper, and he's going to like write down, you know, what track he wants those cars to go to, and then that's going to be your switch list that you go out and switch with. You know, and that's a lot of times those switch lists are kind of just made up, you know, by the seat of their pants too. They're not really, there's not really any system to it. A lot of times it's just, you know, this is what we've got, this is the tracks that we've got available, so this is where you're going to put those cars. Oh, don't stop on me, man. Come on, keep going. A little bit more. A little more. That'll do ya. Okay, so we'll go ahead and line this switch up. I wish we could be a little bit further away to line the switches, but it's not a big deal breaker, just kind of more annoying, really. Okay, so then... Oops, a little bit too far there. This will be the track for the next class of cars, which is the 753 cars. I don't really know what the 3 characters are at the end of it. Like, it's maybe for the industry, but I don't know what that industry stands for. So I think I do recognize TDSI on those cars in the back there, though. I think that's Total Distribution Services, which is, so those are probably auto racks. And since I haven't paid for that, for the auto rack pack, that's what they're showing me, are these big jumbo box cars that are actually, those are supposed to be auto racks. Maybe I'll have to pay for the auto rack pack. I feel like that would be a good investment. Okay, so this is a 753 car. It's going to go into this track. I don't think the tracks are actually, like, indicated on the switches, which would kind of be nice if they could maybe update that to have the tracks actually on there. One thing we're going to want to do, though, as these cars kind of go back in here, I think I don't want to go too far down the track. But I do want to make sure that I have enough space so that when I put more cars into the track that I'm not overflowing it. Like I actually have room and I don't have to keep handling cars, you know, time and time again. So we'll go ahead and stop it right here and just go ahead and look at our switch list one more time. To do that, you just click on any of these cars. You can go to Tagger, look at the entire list of cars. One that I'd be handling here is that DM&E hopper car at the end. That's a 753 car. It looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so really this track is fine. We've got all the room we need for that. The next track is 759. Those ones, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10 of them. So if I've got 10 of those, then I'm definitely going to need a lot of space for this next move. So at least now I can kind of plan ahead, and I know what I'm going to be dealing with. And I'm going to go down here to the end. Same thing. Apply the handbrake. Open the coupler knuckle. Oh, go ahead. Oops. Some of the new features on this, Run 8 version 3, the trucks on the engines, the traction motors, can actually overheat, which is kind of cool. And there's been a lot of updates to like the the air brake systems, and even like the retaining valves on the cars can now be like operated. So there's been a lot of really cool changes, very realistic, prototypical changes, which is really just kind of adding to the experience of this game. It really, you're almost to the point where like you could really train a conductor on this, because it really is very much technical. It's a very technical game. Let's see, 4 cars, 3 cars, I mean. 2 more. Last car. Half a car. And that'll do. And then we'll go ahead, switch lined up. Okay, so then we've got to make our way to the next track. Just double checking, yeah, so 754s are here, 753s are there, 759s will be this track. All right. Back it up. And again, 759 is like 10 cars, so it's really going to come down to, this track is going to need a lot of space in it. But I'll show you what we'll do to just kind of make a determination on how much space we need in that track. So, yeah, looks like we're moving. Don't want to go too fast. Okay. So, pretty much from the clearance point, which is about where that blue box car is like right now, we want to make sure we have about 10 cars. So we want to go 10 cars deep, so basically we'll just wait for 10 cars to get into the track, and then that'll be basically about the 10 car space that we need to hold all of the 759 cars. Doing pretty good here. Might be all the space we need for that. Oh, slow down there, buddy. Okay, so now that that's done, this is all the room we're going to need, plus more. Go down to this car here, and we're going to go ahead and apply the handbrake. Applied. And then click on the coupler and open. Now, if you're going to be switching with air, like you're actually going to hook the air up to the train and do all that, you're going to have to pay attention to your angle cocks, because you're going to lose your air every time you disconnect unless you close the angle cock before you do it. And it's easier just to leave that alone and not even worry about it. In some cases you can't, but that's not the situation. So the next track will be for the 123 cars, which appear to be these 2 tanks right here. They're both going to the next track, and then we'll be coming back for the 759 track. So that blue box car, we're actually going to kick back into this next track here. So go back out now. Oops, went a little too fast there. Just go ahead and line this switch up now. Make things a little bit easier. As a conductor, you're walking around on the ground, and you know, something you're just always trying to pay attention to, how much, you know, you're always trying to find ways to save yourself. You know, even a few extra steps can really add up by the end of the day. Three cars. More like 4. Two more. One more. And that'll do ya. Go line this switch. Right. Doing pretty good. So I think I said at the beginning, this is my third attempt at doing this stream, to like just kind of record this, and I've learned something every time that I've done it, and so now that I've made so many different mistakes, I've kind of learned what we need to do, and it makes it a lot easier and a lot smoother now. Something with Run 8, it's definitely, there's a learning curve to it, but once you get it down, it's just like any of the other games. You start moving a lot faster. This like took me an hour just to get to this step. Okay, so the 123 cars, there's 2 of them there, and then I can sort our switch list real quick. I think there's still another. Yeah, there's one more. So I don't need a whole lot of space. I'm probably good now. And we'll just go ahead and tie it down. We have one more car that'll go into this track, so we have plenty of room to do that. And 3-step, and we'll go wait for them tank cars to stop. There we go. Very realistic, that slack action there. Gotta watch tank cars, they will slosh back and forth. So I'm gonna apply the handbrake on this car, but this second car is actually coming off too. So we're keeping both of these in this track, and we're gonna go to this coupler. Open. Go ahead and pull back on the throttle. Anytime now. Here we go. Cool. So those 2 cars are where they need to be, and this blue box car is going to the 759 track, which was... I forgot what track it was. It's the big track, so it's this one right here. Where those cars are way down there, yeah. So we're going to kick this car into that track, which is going to be a lot of fun. This is our first time actually kicking a car into a track, so I'm excited. When I worked as a conductor on a little short line railroad, one of the rules was you could not kick cars. So every once in a great while, we would be making our interchange, and to do that, we would be in the CN yard to do that. I think I threw the wrong switch. Yeah, I don't want that switch. I might still need it. Hold on. Let's see. So that's a 123 car. We can leave it that way for now, that's fine. But we still got to go down a little bit further. So, keep her going. As a conductor there, though, our short line, our company would not allow us to kick cars, but when we were on the CN, we would be working under their rules, and in their yard, they kick cars all the time. So every once in a great while, if things were slow or we were waiting to, waiting on another train to get out of the yard, instead of, using our pitiful tracks in our yard to do it, we would just sort our cars out in the CN and get kit cars there, which was really fun. So, let's see, I think we're lined up for the... Nope. I went too far for that move. See, that's one of the things about this is you got to kind of pay attention to what you're doing there. So we got that. Way down there, that's where that car needs to go. 759. Zoom out a little bit here. And this car is a 759. How many of them are 759s? What's the next car? That's a 753, so yeah. So we're still good. We can go ahead and... a little bit closer here. We're gonna go ahead and open up that coupler. Go. Open. Back up. go ahead and start moving. I think I picked it a little too hard. All right. Here she goes. All right, go on to the next car now. I kind of want to stay and watch, but the whole point of kicking the cars is so that you're saving yourself a little bit of time. The next car we said was a 753, and the 753s, I believe, were the first cut. Yeah, the second cut, so we got to tie onto that. So we're going to move forward here. You just got to move forward one switch. Go. Not too far. Excellent. And then we're just going to repeat the process here. So another car going into that track. Open the coupler. I think that actually held. I think the pin dropped. Yeah, darn it. Give it another shot. I don't know what the... Maybe it's something to do with these like cushions, coupler knuckles, or they got that slack adjuster on there. Oops, went too far. Okay, so open. Then we're going to back out. Again, try this again. I should do it. Yep, okay. Very smooth. And then 759 is this next car here. In fact, let's see how many of these, just this one, so you don't even have to go too far, just enough to, yeah, it's gotta come out just a tad bit, just to line this switch back. That'll do you. Okay. And now we are lined up. That one's already, you can tell by the banners. So when it's green, the banner is green, it's lined for the lead. And when it's yellow, it's lined for the specific yard track. And so we're already lined up for the 759 track here, if I can. And yeah, so good. Back up. So then again, we're just going to open this knuckle up here. Open the coupler knuckle. Oops, keep messing stuff up, man. Let's see. The engine, there we go. Keep messing stuff up. All right, back to what we were doing. So, coupler knuckle should be open now. Back it up. I'm gonna give this guy a good kick because he's got to get down a little bit further. I don't know if this is actually gonna work. Let's see. See, did it work? Nope. Nope, it held. So the pin dropped on me again. Right. Come on. Open up. Can I close it now? Just to kind of bump the knuckles together? Alright, we're going to try this again. Just nice and easy. I don't know if this is even going to work. Just because... maybe. Guys are... yeah, this is a tough one. Okay, so I have it open again, but it keeps doing that. These are just really tough to handle when it comes to kicking. Alright, so we're going to tie onto it again. Nice and easy this time. Okay. Open the knuckle. Throttle back out, and then we'll hit the brakes again. So that's... that should do it. Okay, finally. Didn't really go that far, but it should roll. A lot of train yards are actually built so that the bottom of the yard, or the middle of the yard, is kind of like lowest point, so it kind of makes a bowl, and that way cars can roll into the track, but it makes it harder for them to roll out the other side. I don't know if like that's something that was thought of for this, but it's not that important since we got them anchor cars. Alright, we'll pull ahead. This car is going to 753, which... 754, that's 753. So we're going to be tying it onto that track there next to it. Oops. Too far. I will say having both of those engines together has made it a lot easier to switch this, because the braking power is just that much more magnified. Double check, double check. The worst thing you can do is, you know, mess it up where you have to go back and redo something that you already did. So it's always good to double check that switch list. Open the knuckle. See if it works. I don't know if it's going to. It's still giving me trouble. Nope. It held on the whole time. Alright, maybe we need to click the other couple knuckle. Maybe that one has to be open. So if you're open, try this again. And just keep the little car thing up there. The little... There we go. That should do it. And there he goes. Goodbye. We'll go all the way. Looks like it's gonna go all the way. I hope. Alright, 759. This might be my big cut. Nope, still not my big cut. Still have to pull out just slightly. So that's maybe something to also pay attention to, is that you want to do it so that you don't have to keep pulling back and forth. You should be able to do this in the way that as you kick the cars, you're not having to go forward, you're just continuously moving backwards. There we go. Come on. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just to do this, I'm going to slow or go a little bit further back. That way I don't have to keep pulling back and backing out of tracks and all that, because that's going to get old after a while. Line this switch up. Be closer to it. I think that's our 759 track, so the switch is already lined up. Alright, so I'm just going to do this all from back over here. Just got to give it a little bit of a harder kick. That way we can make our next move without having to wait for that car to slowly roll into the track. So we click on this car, actually click on the coupler. Gotta be a little bit closer to it. Oh, so it seemed to work if I do this one. So I'm going to keep doing that, and then all right. See if that stays like that. Now I think we did it again. Oh no, it did. It worked. Okay, cool. Alright, so that's going to roll into that track. And the next car is a 123, I believe. Oh, so you're going to go to the 123 set. This is my last car for the 123. And instead of like trying to pull down closer to that, I'm just going to line this switch. And line this switch. Here we go. Oh. Oops. Can back out now. And then I'm just going to go ahead and right from where I was, I'm just going to kick the car from right here. And then makes things a lot easier. We've actually saved ourselves a little bit of hassle. Again. Open the knuckle. I don't know if that was enough to do it. Looks like it was, but still has a little bit of ways to go to get down there. May not have kicked it hard enough. Now, if it could just get into the clearance point, we'd be good. Just get into the clearance point. Okay, I think it worked. I'm gonna back out a little bit now. We got to go back to the 759 track because we've got more cars for it. And let's see, how many do I have? Because there was a big block of them. We're gonna get rid of a whole bunch on this next move. Yeah, basically this entire string right here. All the way, yeah, basically the rest of this train is all for the 759, so all we got to do now, we're lined up for that track. I will kick a block of cars that's this big. I'm just going to shove this entire block and get the entire thing together is what I'm going to do. So just get a little bit back down here. So all right, we're gonna here we go. And doing good so far. Like I said, I'm just going to shove this entire block because you're not going to kick that big of a block of cars track. It doesn't look like any of these cars made it all the way, so I wasn't kicking hard enough. But that's fine. We'll, that's my first time really doing that. So we'll just do a little bit better next time. Yardmaster's cool. He won't make me go through here and lace all the cars up, you know? All right. Make sure our speeds are on 4 for this. And I'm going to have to tie on to this car here. Okay. I'm going to have to tie onto this car, and then I'm going to have to shove all of this back to get onto those cars there. So I will get this track together right here. Get rid of those tags for the moment. Okay. Bump ahead. Bump it back. There we go. There we go. Alright. Okay. So now, that's all together. And we can go back up to the head end of this and see if we really made enough space in this track, which I think we did. We certainly did. Even had a little extra room there for the engines to tie on later on, so... Open up that, and then this car is going into the 753 track, which I think is right next to it. So basically, being these two yellow hoppers, well, this car over to that track. So we can get that move now. That wasn't too bad. That was not too bad. That tank car didn't make it all the way, though. I'm not going to worry about that, though. So, you know, the Y123, was it? They can worry about putting those cars together. Right. Almost all the way out. Right.